we were discussing this chapter number 5, morphology of flowering plants. In this chapter, in the previous session, we have discussed regarding stem, the normal functions of a stem, modification of a stem for the spatial function. Even we have also discussed the leaf, the structural components of a leaf, types of leaves, and the type of venation that we have discussed last time. Now today we have to start with a phyllotaxy, that means arrangement of a leaves. So let's start with first a phyllotaxy. What is phyllotaxy? Phyllotaxy, that means it is the arrangement of the leaves on its stem or the branches. This is called as a phyllotaxy. So what's a phyllotaxy? Phyllotaxy, that means arrangement of leaves on branches or stem. This is known as phyllotaxy. Okay, so this is arrangement of the leaves on the branches or the stem. This is called as a phyllotaxy. The arrangement of the leaves can be of three types. That means a phyllotaxy can be of three types. Which are the three types of a phyllotaxy? The first one kind of a phyllotaxy, it's called as alternate. The second kind of a phyllotaxy, it's called as opposite. And the third type of a phyllotaxy, you can say that it is a whorled. These are the three types of a phyllotaxy: alternate, opposite, and the whorled. These are the three different types of the phyllotaxy. What is an alternate phyllotaxy? Alternate phyllotaxy, that means here suppose assume that this is a stem and these are the nodes. You know that the leaves that arises from the node. So here the leaves that arises from the node in an alternate fashion. Like see, a single leaf arises from each node and that occurs in an alternate fashion. Okay, like 1, 2, 3. Only one leaf arises from this. Such kind of a phyllotaxy, that is called as alternate phyllotaxy. Okay, so what is an alternate phyllotaxy? In the alternate phyllotaxy, the leaf, only a single leaf that arises from a node and that occurs in an alternate manner. That means for one time on this side, on another time on this side, and so on. So it occurs in an alternate manner. This kind of a phyllotaxy, it's called as alternate phyllotaxy. Now the another kind of a phyllotaxy, the second type of phyllotaxy, it's called as opposite phyllotaxy. So what is an opposite phyllotaxy? In the opposite phyllotaxy, suppose assume that these are the nodes. So here the leaf that arises from the node, but here not a single leaf arises, two leaves are arises. That means a pair of leaves they are going to be arises from a single node. And they occurs on the opposite direction, one on this side, the other on this side. Or like see that here the one more leaf, there is a pair of leaves they are going to be arises, and they occurs on the opposite side. Such kind of a leaf is called as, or such kind of a arrangement of a leaves, it's called as opposite phyllotaxy. Okay. The third kind of a phyllotaxy, it's called as a whorled. So what is called as a whorled phyllotaxy? In a whorled phyllotaxy, suppose assume that it's a stem. Here not a two, but more than two. More than two, they are going to be leaves. They are arises from a single node, and it forms a whole whorl-like structure. Okay, whorl. A whole whorl is going to be formed. So this kind of a phyllotaxy, it's called as whorled phyllotaxy. Clear? So this is the three different kinds of arrangement you can find into on a plant. Okay, alternate phyllotaxy, opposite phyllotaxy, and the whorled phyllotaxy. In the alternate phyllotaxy, you can say that here the only a single leaf that arises from a node and that occurs in an alternate direction. In the opposite phyllotaxy, a pair of leaves there arises and they occurs in the opposite direction. And in the whorled phyllotaxy, the many leaves arises from a single node and they form a whorl. So this kind of a phyllotaxy is called as a whorl. Let us see the example. The example of alternate phyllotaxy, you can say that China rose. In the China rose, you can find this kind of a phyllotaxy, alternate. The opposite phytotrope, it is observed into a Calotropis, or it is also observed into a plant called as guava plant. Okay, and the world Phyllotaxy, it's observed into a plant called as Alstonia. Okay, so these are the different examples in which alternate, opposite and the world, the respective Phyllotaxy is going to be observed. Okay, so this is called as Phyllotaxy, the arrangement of the leaves on its branches or the stem. This is called as Phyllotaxy. Now let's moving ahead. The next topic in the leaves. Now first we will discuss the normal functions of a leaf. What are the normal functions of a leaf? Okay, so let's first start with the normal functions of leaves. Okay, normal function of leaf. So what are the normal functions of a leaf? Here the most important normal function, most important normal function of a leaf is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, that means it prepares the food with the help of a sunlight, because that leaf, it is usually green in color, and the green color is due to a presence of a chlorophyll present in it. So the main function of this, or the normal function of this leaf, is to prepare a food by a process called as photosynthesis. Clear? So this is the normal function. But as we have discussed in the previous sessions, that the root and the stem, they also perform some special functions by modification of their structure. Similarly, the leaves can also perform some special functions by modification of its leaf. So what are the special functions it can perform by modification? So let's discuss the modification of leaf, or the performance of a special function. So let's start with modification of leaf. Here the modification of leaf, that is done for certain purposes or certain functions, and one of the most important function for which the modification occurs is for storage of food. Even the leaf also gets modified for storage of a food. Like if you see in the case of an onion and the garlic, let us see the example. First is an onion and the second is garlic. In this case, what happens? A part of a leaf that remains above the ground, and a part of a leaf that remains inside a ground. So the part which is present above the ground, with the help of sunlight, it prepares a food. And the food that is prepared by the leaves that is present above the ground are stored into a part of leaves that is present under the ground. And that becomes a fleshy in nature, and that is observed in these two plants, onion and the garlic. So this is here the leaves, they are storing a food in case of onion and garlic, and for that the modification occurs. So this is the first function for which the modification occurs. Okay. The second function for which the modification can be observed in a leaf is for climbing. Climbing is the another function for which the modification occurs, and this climbing, that modification is observed into a pea plant. So what happens into a pea plant? In a pea plant, the leaves, it's going to be converted into a tendril. In the pea, it's going to be converted into a tendril. And this tendril, they help a plant, specifically a pea plant, for a climbing. So this is an example of a plant in which a leaf has been modified into a tendril for a climbing purpose. Okay, so this is the third function. Now usually you know that the photosynthesis is the normal function of a leaf. But there are few plants in which photosynthesis, they are going to be performed by petiole. Photosynthesis is performed by a petiole. You know the petiole. Petiole is a stalk-like portion, which is a portion present between the lamina and the leaf base. Usually in the leaf, the lamina is the green color, and that performs a function called as a photosynthesis. But here in a few plants, the petiole itself is going to be converted into a green flat color, and that is responsible for a photosynthesis. and that is observed in a plant called as Australian acacia. In which plant it is observed? It's observed into an Australian acacia. In Australian acacia, a petiole, stalk-like portion, it converts into a flat green part, and that is responsible for a photosynthesis. Okay, so this is called as a photosynthesis. Now the fourth function you can call it as protection. The fourth function that is involved is a protection. Here the leaf are modified into a sharp pointed structures. Okay, they are modified into a sharp pointed structures, what we are calling as a spine. Okay, and they are sharp pointed structures, so the animals does not visit them to eat. And this kind of a modification that is observed into a plant called as cactus. In a cactus, the leaves are modified into a sharp pointed structure called as a spine. So this is the fourth function for which the modification occurs. Now here in a few plants the modification also occurs, and they eat the insects. Usually you know that the plants are autotrophic in nature. They derive their nutrition by a process called as photosynthesis. They can prepare their food themselves. But in the insectivorous plant, they eat or capture the insect. Okay, and that is observed in case of a pitcher plant. In a pitcher plant, the leaves that is modified into a specific shape, a bladder-like shape, and in which the insect gets trapped. And even it is also observed into a Venus flytrap. This is the another example in which they are the insectivorous plant. Okay, in which they capture the insects. So these are the modification of a leaf for performing a special functions. So which are they? Storage of food, climbing, photosynthesis, protection, and the insectivores. These are the special functions for which a leaf is modified. So that's all about a leaf. So today in the leaf we have discussed the phyllotaxy. What are the normal functions of a leaf? And then we have discussed the modification of leaf for performing the special functions. Okay, so that's all about a leaf. So in short, till now we have discussed the three organs of a flowering plant: root, stem, and the leaves. Now we are moving ahead with the next organ of a flowering plant, and that is the most important organ. You can say a flower. Okay, so let's start with a flower. So now today we are going to start with another organ of a flowering plant, and that is the flower. What is a flower? Flower, it is a reproductive organ. Reproductive organ of a angiosperm. That means a flowering plant. So that is, in the flowering plant, the reproductive or the sexual organ is the flower. So what is a flower? The flower is the sexual organ of angiosperm or the reproductive organ of an angiosperm. Okay, through which the reproduction takes place. In other term, you can also say that it is a modified shoot. It is a modified shoot. So here the shoot is modified and converted into a bird. That means the apical bird, the apical meristem that is present in the stem, okay, that is modified and converted into a floral bird. It's converted into a floral bird, and it is a condensed form. It is in the condensed form. Here it is a modified shoot, and where there is a condensed shoot is present. Condensed shoot is present. This condensed shoot, where the distance between the two nodes gets decreased. So you know that what is the distance between the two nodes is called? It's called as internode. So here the internode decreases. Clear? So this is the function that is observed into a flower. So what is a flower? The flower is the modified shoot. Here the apical meristem is converted into, or apical bud is converted into a floral bud. The shoot becomes a condensed. So the internode, it gets a decreases. So this is called as a flower. Okay. Now this flower can be arranged in a different way in the plant. So this arrangement, you know that arrangement of a leaf we are calling it as a phyllotaxy. Similarly, the arrangement of a flower also occurs in a specific manner, and this arrangement is called as inflorescence. Okay. So first of all, what we will discuss the inflorescence. What is an inflorescence? Inflorescence, that means it is arrangement of flower on shoot, or you can say that the rachis. Okay, this is called as inflorescence. The arrangement of a flower on the shoot or the rachis, this is called as an inflorescence. And the flower can be arranged in a two way. The major way by which the flower gets arranged, that means the inflorescence can be of two types. There are two types of the inflorescence. The first kind of inflorescence is called as racemose inflorescence, and the second type of inflorescence is called as cymose inflorescence. How many types of inflorescence are there? There are two types of inflorescence are there, racemose, and the second one is called as cymose. Now what is called as a racemose inflorescence? In a racemose inflorescence, like suppose for an example, see this is a shoot. Okay. Now here the flower, here this shoot is continuously growing up, and the flower, this is a flower, assume that this is a flower. Okay. Here the flower that occurs in an acropetal fashion, means it occurs in alternatively, zigzag order, like such. And this apical meristem is continuously growing, and the flowers, they are occurring in the zigzag fashions. This kind of inflorescence is called as racemose inflorescence. Clear? In the racemose inflorescence, what happens? The flower which is present at the lower side or at the base, they are generated first, and the flowers which are generated at the upper side, they are generated later on. So this is the characteristic you can observe in it. Okay, because the flowers that is produced at the lower side, they appear the first and they are larger in size, and the flowers which occurs towards the apex, they are later appearance and they are smaller in size comparatively. So this is what happens. So in racemose inflorescence, the apical meristem, it continuously grows, and the flower occurs in an acropetal fashion. That means it occurs alternatively. So this type of inflorescence is called as a racemose inflorescence. Now what happens in the cymose inflorescence? In a cymose inflorescence, suppose assume that this is a stem. Here the apical meristem, this is the apical meristem, it is converted into a flower and its growth gets a stop. Now once it is converted into a flower, the branch will develop. A branch will develop. The branch is again converted into a flower. So again one more branch is developed like this. Okay, like this. Or here you can say that here it's converted into a flower. Once it is converted into a flower, its apex, one more branch will develop. So such kind of inflorescence is called as a cymose inflorescence. What's called as cymose inflorescence? So here in the cymose inflorescence, the apex or apical meristem, it's converted into a flower, and so the lateral branch will develop. Lateral branch means a branch develops from a side, which is again converted into a flower. One more branch will develop. Again it continues to swing. So this kind of inflorescence is called as a cymose. So these are the main two types of the inflorescence. That means arrangement of a flower, racemose, and the second one is called as cymose. Okay. So these are the two different types of inflorescence. So students, today what we have discussed? We have discussed regarding the flower. What are the different components of a flower? Sorry, what are the characteristics of a flower, and what is the arrangement of a flower? In brief, I am just telling you what are the components of a flower, and then the rest portion we will discuss next time. this flower, the flower is organized into a different whorls. There are different layers. Okay, there are different layers that exist in a flower. So what are the different whorls of a flower? There are 4 different whorls of a flower. The first whorl is called as calyx. This is the outermost whorl. The second whorl is called as corolla. The third whorl is called as androecium. And the fourth whorl is called as gynoecium. So in a typical flower, there are 4 whorls are present: calyx, corolla, androecium and the gynoecium. Okay, so these are the 4 whorls are present. This is the first whorl, usually green in color. Corolla is a colorful in nature. Androecium is the male reproductive part. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part. But these are the whorls, calyx and corolla, they are called as accessory whorls. What they are called as? Accessory whorls. Means not always necessary, but they are called as accessory whorls. And the androecium and the gynoecium, they are called as necessary whorls because they actually involve into a reproduction. Without them, the reproduction does not occur. They are actually involved, they are necessary. So these are androecium and the gynoecium, they are called as necessary whorls. In these accessory whorls, calyx and the corolla, they are not directly involved in a reproduction, they are indirectly involved in reproduction, so that's why we are calling it as accessory whorls. Okay? Sometimes instead of these 2 separate whorls, remember this calyx and corolla are the usually separate 2 whorls observed into a flower. But instead of these 2 separate whorls, some flowers are such that instead of these 2, they have only a single whorl, and this is called as perianth. It's called as perianth. Clear? These 2 whorls, they combine and appear as a single whorl called as a perianth, and that is observed only in a few plants or few flowers. Now, usually you know that there are 4 whorls are present. If these 2 both whorls are present, this androecium is the male and the gynoecium is a female. If both the whorls are present, androecium and the gynoecium, both the whorls are present simultaneously in a flower, then such type of a flower is called as bisexual flower. What kind of flower it is? It's called as a bisexual flower. What is a bisexual flower? Bisexual flower, that means it possesses both androecium as well as gynoecium in a single flower. Okay, clear? But if the flower possesses only androecium or only gynoecium, then we are calling it as unisexual flower. What we are calling it as? Unisexual flower. If it just have a androecium, just an androecium, not a gynoecium, then we are calling it as male flower. And if it has only gynoecium and not an androecium, then we are calling it as female flower. So there are the 2 types of a flower depending on the presence or absence of an androecium and gynoecium. If both are present, then we are calling it as bisexual flower. If either of them is present, either androecium or gynoecium, then we are calling it as unisexual flower. And from either of them, what is present, like if androecium is present, then called as male flower. If gynoecium is present, then it's called as female flower. So this is the typical whorls of a flower or components of a flower. We have to discuss in detail regarding these whorls and the different types of a flower, but that we will discuss in the next section. Till then students, keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.